Alright, so we're back in the world of Crimson Desert, and today guys, I'm going to be showing off my Explosive Ranger build. Now, I'm going to quickly break down the build so you guys have a better idea of how it works, the pros, the cons, and things like that. So let's go over it. So the idea behind this build is very simple. We are trying to make a pure ranger, or we're not trying, we made a pure ranger build. This build is centered around utilizing your bow in its entirety. If you're someone who enjoys playing like a ranger playstyle, this build's for you. And you do not have to engage with melee much, if at all. And that's kind of the idea behind this build. You're playing as a full ranger. Now, how we are able to really make this build pop off is by doing a explosive arrow infinite combination. Infinite arrow is an abyss gear that you need to gamble for and or look for that's going to give you the ability to essentially have infinite arrows. We combine this with explosive arrow, which has really solid AoE, explosive damage, knockback, and things of the sort. And you can set things on fire, and essentially you become a kind of a shotgun or a turret of damage depending on what you use at the time. And you can just absolutely destroy most, if not all, enemies fairly easy. So talking a little bit about the pros of this build, obviously it is a range build, so dealing with any range flyer or any range enemies, you tend to pretty much butcher them. Like, you have absolutely no problem with any of the range enemies in this game at all. And even in melee, especially due to some of the things that we put on this build, you can actually fight really well up close and actually deal with some pressure when it comes close to you, because again, some of the stuff we put on the build. Some of the cons of this build is going to be pretty simple. There's one, maybe two bosses in the game that actually can reflect your arrows. So you would obviously have to play melee against those. One is a story boss. I'm assuming there's maybe someone else. I've only encountered one. So of course you'll need to be melee for that one story boss, who's actually super easy. The other con is this is like a mid-game build. You need to get infinite arrows in order for it to work. So you're going to have to put in a little bit of, elbow grease to get it to work. But I'm going to show you how to get some of the things to make it a little bit easier. Now, some other interesting upsides to mention is because you are facing with, you're playing with explosive arrows, you have the ability to kind of stagger bosses really well. So you have high stagger, and explosions tend to stagger the more humanoid or smaller enemies. So you have built-in offense and defense in that way. You just kind of disable enemies from playing the game, which is super big. The other thing is when you're actively sieging, you can actually like shoot down towers, shoot down buildings, and like stifle their numbers without having to physically go over there and hit. And most, if not all, the footage that you see in this video is at the point where I'm just like going through the motions, right? I'm building together, putting the build together, upgrading and stuff. Like what you see in the gearing section is nothing you see in the video. I'm all weaker in the video compared to what I have in the showcase. So what you're seeing is a weaker version than what you would naturally be if you match my gear, which isn't that hard to match. So yeah, that is pretty much the idea behind the build. Let's actually dive into how to put it together. All right, now that you guys have a better understanding of how the build works, let's go over how to put it together, and I'm going to try to be as thorough as possible. But before we dive on in, guys, I have to ask you, make sure to drop a like as well as subscribe to the channel. I know it's annoying to hear, but keep in mind this is how I make a living, and subscribing helps me a massive amount, more than you probably know. Just keep in mind I am going to be covering and playing a lot of action RPGs and RPG games you're going to be playing over the next year and beyond, so you can keep yourself up to date while also helping me out a massive amount. So yeah, drop a sub and let's dive into the build. So first things first, let's talk about the bow, because obviously this is the most important thing for the build. You need to get infinite arrows in order to make this build work. As you can see here, each infinite arrow can give you a variety of different amounts. Infinite arrow 2 will give you 40, 3 will give you 60, and then 1 will give you 20. We have 3 of them here, so obviously we were able to get 2 40s, 120, and so now we have 100%. I'm going to quickly show you where to get one of them guaranteed. So coming over here to your journal, coming over here to your faction quest, and then doing Payloon Militia, and then there's a quest called Nest of the White Feathers, Queen of the Skies, and you can kill the Queen of the Skies and she will give you infinite arrows to one singular time, and this will cover 40% of what you need for it. You just need to simply do quests in this area and you will eventually get it, specifically this one, the Bloody Path, and then right after you do that one you'll get this one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You want to actively get this first, and that's to be the easiest way to get one. Now the rest of the way is obvious. You need to gamble abyss gear. I think there was a video I saw today that went over how to get some abyss gear. I didn't use that method, but there's a way you can get it fairly easy. I'll have that link down in the description. But that could be a way to get it, and you just go gamble with the witches, and then hopefully you get it So that's pretty much the best way you can do that, and that's why this is like a little bit more towards the mid game, because it's going to require a little bit of effort. Now when it comes to the bow, the golden knotted bow, ancestral bow is what we're using. For those who are wondering why every video that goes over like an infinite arrow build or some type of ranger build use this bow, is because it has the highest base refinement upgrade so far, and every item thus far that I've seen in this game, it's generally exactly the same unless you have Abyss gear outside of a handful of outliers, and that's no different for the bows. The golden knotted bow, it just has better base refinement, and that's why players tend to use it a lot more in their builds. For those who are wondering, what we put in this is attack speed, attack 3 and crit rate 3, because as you can see here, we have 12 with our gear. And then when we pull out the bow, this will give us max crit, and that's important so we can always do crit damage. Now to find this bow, I'm staying at the camp here. You're going to come over here to a loon, and what you're looking for is the Silver Wolf Mountain area, and right here will be like a little underground area that leads you to like a little kind of dangerous puzzle. Just go there, do it, and go get the bow. It's very simple and easy to get to. Moving on to other components of this build, I want to quickly talk about the White Lion necklace, and keep in mind you can get multiple weapons or multiple items that have similar stats to this one. I'll just tell you where this one is, but it gives me 5 attack, 4 crit. I feel like that's a really good balance. And then when you get it, you'll have Spirit, which is super important because Spirit is a form of our DPS, which is super important. We'll talk about that in the skill section. Where to find this is Hernan. You need to come all the way to the Crimson Desert and follow the path all the way until you get to almost Varnium. And right here, the turquoise rock pools will have a lion here that you need to kill. You can see I already killed it, legendary lion. And when you skin it, you will get this item. So it's really, really easy to get. Just come all the way up to Crimson Desert, which is kind of the hard part. For the rest of the gear, we are using the Scorch Plate set. The reason for this is thematically, it looks really cool to the build, and a few other things. With the armor, for example, the Scorch Plate armor will have crit on it, and if I take it off, as you can see here, we lost 4 crit. It says level 2, but for some reason it gives 4. I have no clue why. But it gives 4 crit, which is actually pretty big for the build. You can take a more defensive chest if you want more defense, but if you want some offensive capabilities, this is super nice to not have to invest into. For our gloves, we're also using a Scorch Flame plate. We're using the Volcanic Eruption Imbue. This comes with it naturally, and we're using attack speed. Attack is a global modifier. I had this comment a lot in the last video. Attack speed is a global modifier. Crit and attack on gloves and boots are specific to those things, but attack speed is global. But for the boots, for the gloves specifically, we're going to be using Volcanic Eruption. Whenever we use Imbue, I'll just show you. Whenever you use any fire imbue skill, you will get volcanic fissures to come out. And seeing that we are using Charge Shot, we will be able to do it. And you can see there we got some explosions to come out because we imbued our attack with fire. And that's kind of the purpose of this. We just want to get extra damage, especially when we have more stationary enemies. And one thing I really want to talk about with this is the Volcanic Eruption, why we're only using one and not using another one. One thing you'll notice in almost every build, especially those in the last week that's released, is that you don't have any stamina, you don't have any spirit after you use anything. And that's like, in my opinion, a super inefficient way of making a build, is over investing into these, like Abyss gear, and putting tons of them in. You'll see builds that have like 4 or 5 of them on their weapon, and they swing one time and they have no stamina and no spirit, and it's just a terrible way of making a build. So you don't need to over invest into things like that in order for your build to be effective. You just need to do enough that you get benefit from it, and because like still attacking is more important than like some Volcanic Eruption constantly, you know what I mean? So I just want to point that out. If you want to invest more into those things, sure, do that, but just know you're going to suffer on spirit or stamina when you over invest into those things. So that's my thoughts behind that. For the rest of the pieces, I'm going to tell you where to find everything and then just tell you what's in it. Helmet, we put defense because we need a little bit of defense. Nothing our cloak for obvious reasons. Then for our boots, we're using the Scorch Flame leather boots that has attack for the global speed, and then the Parting Gift. And what this does is when you're about to be hit and you do the little left alt click or whatever it is for console, you can drop a bomb at your feet that will actively blow up. It'll hurt you too, keep in mind, but you're going to be dodging anyway. Like there's no reason for you to stand your ground when you're getting charged at by a melee character anyway. But yeah, you go drop a bomb at your feet, and this is just another defensive / offensive layer that kind of helps you out quite a bit. So this is what I would use in order to get this. This is tied behind another quest as well. This is tied behind Hout Circus, and you need to do the Nemesis Demise, and you need to face off against this goober, and he will drop those Ronda leather boots, which will have this abyss gear in it. If you're having trouble figuring out how to get this unlocked, leave a comment down below and I will answer it. It will take too long in this video to explain because it was convoluted like most of the quests. So I'll explain it that way, but you need to do this if you have it unlocked, and this will give you that. You don't need it, but I prefer to have it for that little bit of offensive, defensive thing you need to deal with like melee damage pressure, in my opinion. For the gear, where you can find all these Scorch Plate, I will have a video for Eric's who goes over it. I don't have the footage of it, but I'll just show you where it's at. Most of this is in Demonis. In the Golden Trading Post, you'll have a little area under the stairs that has it. Over here, you'll get the chest in the Cascading Grotto. You'll get the, I believe the cloak and the gloves in the Twilight Grotto. There's like a little area here. Again, just check Eric's video. I have it linked down below so you can go check it and he'll show you exactly where everything is. But everything is like within this region here, so you'll be good to go. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the gear. Let's go over the accessories. When it comes to, we already talked about the necklace. When it comes to the earrings, just keep in mind most, if not all, pieces of gear have the same exact stats, which will be defense and move speed. There's only two others that don't, which is that Leaf one and another one that no one has found yet that gives like 10 defense, which is absurd. If you find it, leave it down in the comments, by the way. But you can use pretty much any earring as they will generally have the same exact stats, unfortunately. For the ancient earring, I can tell you where I got this one because I just remember it off the top of my head. Over here in Hylune, you're going to come over here to the Fire of Ringing Truth. You can get this earring. And then for the rings, we're using a witch ring. I got this naturally from progressing the story. I think you get this in Act 9. But keep in mind there are mini earrings, mini rings that have literally the same stats, so it doesn't matter. If it can be refined, it can be refined up to this same level anyway, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is the case. And then for the blue scout ring, this is a twist drop. I almost never use twist drops in my video. The reason I'm using this is because it's going to give me 3 more attack than other rings. And I really would have preferred the attack. It'll be 7 when it's maxed out, but you don't need to do it. It's not really going to impact the build at all because you can just use the Ring of Lightning, which would be more damage than what I have currently, and use it in place of that until you like upgrade more. So you can use that or literally any other ring because it's not really a big deal. For the Ring of Lightning, I believe it was also in Payloon at this place here, the Whisper Leaf Fortress. There'll be a graveyard there you need to punch. So yeah, go ahead and go punch that and you can have that. For the skills, let's go over the important things. First off, stamina 10, health 10, and ideally if you can get spirit to 10. I can't afford it because it takes a lot of Biscuit to upgrade multiple characters, but that's what I would recommend. Spirit is really good because you use Focus Shot a lot. Oh, where is it? You use Focus Shot a lot, this one. And this is an absurd DPS skill for you. You can take your Spirit to make it do a lot more damage. The more Spirit you have, the more this does. So you really, really want to have as much Spirit as possible to really get benefit from this. So yeah, keep that in mind. Stamina is super important for obvious reason. Evasive shot. When you're evading, you shoot out 2 arrows when you grab this one. No, this one. And this is obviously mandatory as well. And so this is how your stamina get value. So these are 2 ways to get stamina and to get spirit to go a long way in your damage. But yeah, over things you need to max out. You need to get marksmanship. You need to get evasive shot. You need to grab power shot, charge shot here. You need to max out focus shot. And then I think that's pretty much it. That's mandatory for the build outside of like movement stuff. Oh no, this one as well. Imbued elements. You need to make sure to grab elemental charge shot for those bosses. That's super important. But yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it. With that said, that's pretty much it for the build. Should you have any comments, questions, or concerns for the build, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer it as best I could or can. If you have any build requests that you want, feel free to leave them down in the comments because I will, try to make something. I have the ability to make just short of everything at this point. So let me know and I'll try to make something for you guys. Now, as I said near the intro of this video, if you want to help out the channel without any cost to you, just leave a like, or even better, subscribe. Honestly, subscribing helps me out much more than you guys think, so drop a subscribe if you want to help the channel, and keep yourself up to date on all things action RPGs, of course. And just like that, guys, I will see you in the next video very soon.